And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you with the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. So I want to start off by saying it's a very solemn day. We got news of the fact that earlier this week that 6 hostages were murdered. They were in tunnels. They've been, almost a year in captivity, and they were murdered by the Hamas terrorists. And on the same day, we also had a terrorist attack, which killed 3 policemen. So everybody is pretty down. And I'd like to speak about optimism. Interestingly enough, this happened on September 1st. September 1st in Israel is the first day of school. There's a certain optimism that we all have it for firsts, for beginnings, new beginnings, right? And I'm not poo-pooing what happened in the past, and we need to focus the past. We need to study the past in order to have a more successful future. But maybe we're good at this. But there's a certain optimism. You have spring training in baseball, the beginning of football season's coming up. I know I'm not making light, right? I'm just talking about the first day of school, new beginnings, and the opportunity that new beginnings give us. And I'd like to speak about financial new beginnings. That's what we speak about here. The opportunity that we always get is that we can put our mistakes behind us, our financial mistakes behind us, right? You got into debt, you can get yourself out of debt. You bought something that you shouldn't have done, well, don't do it again, right? You can always sort of get back on track. And that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of tomorrow, right? You always have an opportunity for tomorrow to correct the issues of the past. So, and we're also in the Jewish calendar, we're coming up on the high holidays, the Jewish New Year, the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. These are all dates where we certainly reflect on the past. But we use that reflection in order to try and create a better tomorrow, a better future, to improve ourselves. And even if it's for one day, right? If we improve ourselves over last year by a day or by 2 days, that's already progress. Sometimes we get frustrated that we have all these goals. I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I don't even accomplish. Forget about Y and Z. On the ladder of X, I do 1 or 2. I manage to climb 1 or 2 levels, and that's it. But you know what? If you're comparing that to the past, that's already progress, and we shouldn't poo-poo it. So too with your financial situation, right? So what do you need to do to get back on track financially? I think the first thing you need to do is sit down and understand what your current situation is, right? Take a pen and paper. What am I currently spending? Do I have investments? How much of investments? Am I putting away money every month? Am I living within my means, right? So how do we do that? Well, the first thing is we figure out, what are we spending every month? And then if it's more or less than we actually have coming in income, so then we know it's either a good thing or a bad thing. But how to control what we really want to do is take control of that situation. How do we do that? By creating a budget, right? We write down, we say, okay, I make, $10,000 a month, or I make 20,000 shekels a month, whatever it is, right? And I have to fit my life into that amount of money because I have to live within my means. Otherwise, I'm up the creek. So we start taking a piece of paper and we prioritize our spending, right? Well, there's housing, there might be mortgage, there might be rent, utility bills, food. Those are all things that come off first. Then, sort of our discretionary spending, if there's room for it. Another line item that you probably want to put into your budget is what we call pay yourself first. It should actually be pretty high up, and that's to put some money into savings every month. Now, obviously, that could be a luxury. If you're living, on a very, very tight budget, at least for now, that's probably not going to be doable. But in the future, it might be. And if you're working, all is not lost, because you might get your social benefits, it might not be extra savings that you're putting into your budget, but nonetheless, it's coming right off of your salary stub and going into investment. So that's important. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get ourselves a budget. If we have debt, then the next thing we have to do is start allocating in our budget every month to pay off our debts. That's very, very important. Both, I would say, morally, we have a moral obligation to pay off our debts, and financially, we're silly not to pay off our debts because it's come back. Ultimately, you're never going to get rich by owing everybody money, right? You're not going to have a secure future by owing people money. You've got to get a handle on those debts, and you have to be aggressive about paying them off. Once you do that, then you can start with the, the more advanced personal finance of having 3 to 6 months in an emergency fund. Again, that money is in case your fridge breaks, in case your microwave goes, in case your washer and dryer go. I can vouch for the fact that sometimes those things happen at the same time, right? You can come over to our house right now. If you want to give us a new microwave or a new dryer, that would be most welcome. But you know what? Things happen. And sometimes, it's the perfect storm and more than one thing break at the same time. So you have to have money saved up so you can then go ahead without payments and without going into debt, so you can comfortably pay for those new acquisitions that you need because, things broke at the same time. Your wisdom tooth, you have dental work at the same time. If things happen, life happens. And the emergency fund, the beauty of the emergency fund is that you're prepared so that when something happens, you go, okay, you have to spend time figuring out what's the best model for me to buy, but not how on earth am I going to afford to pay for it. That's the beauty of the emergency fund. The emergency fund is not to become a millionaire with. Okay, if you can get a little bit of money on it, get a little bit of interest, put it in the money market, whatever, more power to you. But the point of it is that you have money accessible so that if you need it, you have. Okay, next comes obviously our medium to long-term spending, where we're really starting to now look towards the future. We're trying to put money away every month, every year, so that we can have down the road a secure future and pay for things down the road, whether it's paying for, certain life cycle events, could be weddings for our children or what have you. And then obviously retirement, which is the biggie. Then there's also paying off your house early. These are all also medium to long-term savings, things which you can also put into your budget and allocate monthly money to or annual monies to, so that you can have that, secure future and that peace of mind, knowing that you're not always scrambling to figure out, what am I going to do next, right? There's a lot of beauty in a budget. It gives you peace of mind and it gives you the wherewithal to fund your lifestyle without scrambling. And that's huge. I see people all the time who are scrambling and they're always, they're always juggling. They're always balls in the air. And that's no way to live. It's a tough way to live. So budget and use the new opportunity, whatever it is, right? It's a random Wednesday, a random Thursday, and you're up the creek financially. So start today. Forget about what happened and start today. Use, you can go look back at the past, right? Use it as your guide, maybe what not to do. Okay, but focus on the future because the past is the past. Can't do anything about it. You can cry about it and nothing changes. You can complain about it. I should have done this. I should have done that. You know what? You didn't. Move on. Okay. To the families of those who've lost ones in the terror attacks and the murder, the cold-blooded murder by Hamas terrorists, our thoughts and prayers are with you. To all those who were injured, our thoughts for a speedy recovery are with you. And may we have better days ahead. You've been tuning into the Aaron Katzman Show. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both our YouTube channel and to the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.